All right, YouTube, we are live. Welcome one, welcome all. Just started this guy off a little bit sooner than normal. Starts on in a couple minutes here. Just going to let you guys pop in here before we get started with this report. Just find my OBS is right here. Cool. And let me navigate these guys in here. All right. So, Trade Pros, welcome to today's midday update. Today was a really good day. In the room, we actually opened up the room. For those of you that are not aware, we opened up the room today for YouTube. Those of you that registered had a chance to check out the room, and hopefully you guys got a good peek of what we actually do here on a daily basis as far as analyzing real-time market conditions, seeing what is going on, and looking to qualify high probability, low risk trades. And that's basically what we did in the room today. Equities were a little bit of a tougher market to trade. Very few actual pullbacks, very few rotations. This was more of a slow, choppy grind higher, which is okay. That happens some days, but that's one of the benefits of watching several markets. We switched over to the crude oil market, and crude oil did have some good volatility on the back of the EIA report. And on the back of that, our team did quite well. All right, so that's what I'm seeing there. Afternoon, William. Hey, Roni. Yeah, it was a great day in the room today. A lot of people came in, which is really good to see. So that's where we're at. You guys know what happened there. I'm not really gonna summarize that too much for those that were there. For those that weren't, kind of missed a good opportunity. You might have to wait about another year or so until we open that up again if we do. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this report. First and foremost, let's take a look at some of the drivers throughout the U.S. session. U.S. session was pretty okay. We did have quite a few news events come through. A bunch of ISM numbers, PMI numbers, natural gas inventories, etc. Let me take a look at that for you. So what we did have is the we had ADP non-farm employment at 815. We had ISM non-manufacturing PMI at 945. Crude oil inventory at 11, and that's basically all that we see on the agenda there for the time being. All right, so that's what we got on that front. And let's jump on to the actual session drivers for today's session. So if I can find that right here, there we are. Session drivers, let me take a quick look at the notes. So during the US session, we had, out of China, your almost infamous Global Times editor-in-chief Hu Jijin mentioned that China and the US announced a new round of trade talks and will work to make substantial gains or substantial progress. Personally, I think the US, worn out by the trade war, may no longer hope for crushing China's will. There's more possibility of a breakthrough between the two sides. Again, August ADP employment change came in at 195,000 versus 148,000. That was your highest reading since April. Initial jobless claims as well, 217,000 versus 215. Continuing claims, 1.66 mil versus 1.69 million expected. What else did we have? We had August final market services PMI, 50.7 versus 50.9 expected. And the main driver here was your crude oil, DOE crude oil report. Came in with a draw across the board, draw of 4.8 million barrels versus 2 million expected on crude. The gasoline number was a draw of 2.4 million versus 2 million expected, and distillates came in at a draw of 2.5 million versus 0.5 million expected. So big draw across the board. When we typically see a draw across the board like this, tends to be a little bit bullish. However, as you guys saw and in the room, just because the numbers are bullish does not mean that the market is going to continue higher. There was an initial impulse higher. However, the real trade was back to the downside from those highs around those mid 70s or so. All right, so that's what we had on that front during the U.S. session. Nothing really else on the agenda that I can see leading into the remainder of the session. So again, it's going to be important to have a squawk just in case we get anything with regards to China, U.S., any updates, etc. So that part of the update is done. Let's jump onto the charts here. Let me find my quote board. My quote board's right here. Now let me find my OBS and switch this guy back into the charts. So close that, open that, and there we are. All right, so here we are, guys. Let me get my pen tool. Sorry, my pen tool. Oh, it's all the way on this side of the screen. Awesome. All right, guys, so what you are seeing today, crude oil, 515,000 contracts, pretty okay volume. SPOOs, 1.09 million, better than what we saw the other day. And you guys can kind of see just the chart. Generally, the correlation between higher volume is that you typically tend to get a little bit more direction out of those trades. And so that's what we kind of saw today. Again, off the open, straight bid, not very many opportunities to get in on this market. Onto the upside. Now it kind of looks like these buyers are kind of stuck around these 80s, just looking for a little flush back down to the overnight high VWAP area to start, getting rid of some of these late buyers up here and get rid of their sell stops and then reaccumulate some buy stops down here, or rather start consolidating here, building up some buy stops and then flushing back off for fresh highs. I still think 3,000 is, in the view for the maybe into the end of this week, but I would fathom with quite good certainty. Actually, there's nothing that's certain, but I would fathom that 3,000 is kind of the target now that we've broken above those 2940s. There was just a lot of sell stops, or buy stops rather, sitting above those 40s, and I think that now that we've cleared those out, we have a room to run up to 3,000. That's kind of the daily level, the next daily key resistance zone. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, crude oil, 516 up 1.8%. US or equities 500. S&P 500. Sorry guys, I'm losing my language here. S&P 500 up 1.3%. So both markets are up on the session, but again, it looks like these buyers are a little bit stuck, and seeing if these sellers can wipe some sell stops here on both of these markets. I am seeing crude kind of here, might wipe some sell stops below the pit VWAP. Kind of seeing something similar here with equities. We've had a couple of rotations. We'll see if we can spill below that, kind of into our level there. So that's what we're watching for. Looking at the pivots, your crude is right around R1. So we did find some resistance around that level. That was 57.37. Which does not make very much. Yeah, that does make sense. 57.37 was that level. That's your R1. That is kind of where we're kind of hovering around right now. You can see right after the AIA report at 11 came out, we broke above that level, kind of hovered around it. Now we are rotating below it. And so, like I said, I'm just looking for a flush of this VWAP, maybe, excuse me, maybe back down to that overnight high, pit VWAP, open and previous day high. A lot of clusters here supporting that idea. So that's kind of where I'd be pointing towards. Also, you are at R1 after a pretty extended run. So while your true trend is bullish, I think shorter term a fade is more likely, just to wipe, like I said, wipe out some of the longs from up here, get some shorts excited, stop them out into this level, and then we get the real move going. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. On these equities, big overnight rally. We opened up right around R2. It's not really my favorite situation, but it is what it is. We opened up there. And generally what happens when you open up around R2s, R3s, is that you tend to get a lethargic, slow grind up or down. And that's kind of what we saw today, just off of the open, just a lethargic grind higher. And that's pretty much what we've seen since the open. We have traded up as high as those 88s or just below 88s. I think maybe 86 or 87, somewhere around there. Right around the R3. R3 is around the 88.33s, and we have seen the sellers starting to come into this market. So R3s and R4s, same as S3s and S4s on a single session. If you get a market trading into those levels, that would generally be considered overbought or oversold. So at this point, we did hit almost R3. That is overbought, and you are seeing a little bit of a sell-off on the back of that. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Still upside is the right side, but like I said, I think at this point in time, sellers trying to push this thing back down into the overnight high, the VWAP, in order to get this thing, get some sellers excited, rather get some buyers stopped out for the next run. Could be wrong. we might just hold on to this support. I am seeing, the sellers have tried this 1, 2, 3, 4 times, kind of failing. So this might just be as low as we go before we try for new highs. Not too sure, but as it stands, there is some structure forming between these 81s or so and these 76s. So until those 81s break out to the upside, not really looking for anything else on that front. All right, so that's what we got on both of these markets. Crude oil, SPOOs, you guys know what we're looking for. Let's jump into the TradePro Performance Index here to show you guys what that is all about. All right, so we're going to show you guys what that's all about. And, whoops, that's not what we're all about. There it is. So here's the TradePro Performance Index. So like I said yesterday, we didn't have the best day yesterday, but trade pros generally tend to bounce back really well. And I put it out there yesterday, and the trade pros delivered today. So we had, even with an open room, granted this is not just trade pro subscribers, this was also with the YouTube community that we had in there, 76.12% live positive. You are seeing 55% were up, 20% were flat, and the remaining 24 or so percent were down on the session. So great bounce back from our team. Very proud of you guys. Very proud to see those numbers. And that's basically going to be a wrap on this one, guys. So a little bit shorter today, but that's because we had you guys in the room trading with us. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. There's about 20 of you guys watching right now. I'm not too sure how many of you actually participated in the room. But if you did, please do comment. Please do let us know in the chat how you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, you can still share those opinions. We're completely transparent with what we do. So if you don't like it, we'll take it as feedback and see if we can improve. If you do like it, we'll also take it on feedback and see how we can improve that as well. So that's going to be a wrap for me today, guys. If you will be trading into the remainder of the session, you know your 3 rules: remain patient, remain diligent, and remain disciplined. Until next time, good luck and good trading, guys. Take care. Now, let's end this stream.